how did you create QFaith, and what is the main driver behind QFaith?
Well, we say that the only requirement for attendance is to respect our values and a desire for spiritual awakening. So because we're LGBTQ affirming and because a lot of Christian people were interested, we wanted to make sure that they were not going to override our values, which was like this place of acceptance and love and non-judgment. And our values were really different than what most Christians thought of as Christianity. Like, we value mystery and questions and wonder rather than pretending we have all the answers, right? That's really different than a lot of Christians. We value authenticity, right? And sharing honestly about our own experiences. Again, some people are used to a zone where you wear a mask, so that would be difficult for them. So the values were important, and we came up with those as a group. And even the children, like, our 12th value is we like to joke and have fun and try not to take ourselves too seriously. And we may occasionally swear. But the we like to joke and have fun part was the kids, because we said to them, what would be the best church you could imagine? They're like, church is supposed to be fun. And I was like, yeah, that would be fun if they were in the backyard jumping on the trampoline and they loved it. So to even involve the children in making the values was important. And then the group conscience just agreed on what those values were. And I didn't know this at the time, but much later I found out that if you write down what your values are and you read through those, whatever you're trying to do will get easier. And so I didn't realize at the time, I just knew that in the 12 steps, they had the 12 steps and the 12 traditions, and they would read those at the beginning of every meeting. And I thought, well, we can read the 12 steps, but we don't have any traditions. So why don't we do a value statement? And so we read those at the beginning of every meeting. And it helps to hold the structure and the framework of this is who we are and this is who we're not. And this kind of keeps us together. And there are other things in it, Jesus as we understand him. So it's the same principle as like higher power of your own understanding. People were able to attend that were agnostic or atheist, and they had their own understanding of who Jesus is, which for me, in my particular understanding of Jesus, that's how Jesus would be. Like, Jesus would want people around that had their own ideas of who do you think I am, he would say to people, right? So yeah, it was a place that people could come with varying faith backgrounds. It tended to draw in 4 different groups of people. So one were people who had a previous background in Christianity and they were becoming much more progressive, but they still wanted community and they still believed in the real value of the teachings of Jesus, but didn't like, what did you call it? Churchianity?
Churchianity.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So they don't like that. And then the second group of people were people who were in recovery already, but they wanted to deepen their recovery. And so the idea that AA says our primary purpose is to achieve sobriety and to help other alcoholics. It's not that that's bad, but people felt a deeper sense of purpose. What else am I here for besides sobriety and helping alcoholics? Is there a meaning? Who am I? So they want to ask those questions. So people from other recovery groups would come. The third group of people were people who had no church background and no recovery background, and they were spiritually curious, like you were talking about, the seekers, right? And so those were people that were like, it sounds really interesting what you're doing. People are honest. It seems like they're having good feedback. Their friends would be coming. They'd bring in their friends. So that was the third group. Like my massage therapist, she wasn't an addict and she had no background in church, but she wanted a place to ask questions. That was the other thing. Like, it was called QFaith in the beginning because we were questioning things. And I think that's part of the seeking, rather than as soon as you think the answer, you're kind of screwed, right? So as long as you're asking questions, that's a good thing. And then the last group of people were people who actually were involved in their church in a deep way. And they loved what we were doing. And I really admired them. It was a small group of people because most people that fit into traditional church don't get what we're doing at QFaith. But I really love those people because there was something that they were called to do to actually help change the institution and not give up on it. I always say that like the Titanic is sinking. Like, we all know church attendance is like declining and all those types of things, right? But I was like, God bless the people that are like trying to do work on the Titanic while the people are there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those were the fourth group of people that would come, and they would just treat it like a small group or like a not Bible study, because we'd only do Bible like once every 6 weeks. But again, we only did Bible once every 6 weeks because it was very triggering for people. But we didn't completely exclude it because we thought, I wonder if we look at these scriptures together from a different angle, if suddenly these words can have new meaning for us again and new life and not be part of the trauma of the past, like kind of the not throwing the baby out with the bathwater thing. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, just wanting to create a space for people to have the community